Okay, so here's what I would suggest. You want to think about scenes kind of like they have many different layers to them, and you can only work on one layer at a time. So, for example, you work on getting the honesty and the truth down. Then you work another time, you work on the stakes. Then you work another time on being funny to look at. So I would suggest that you do it that way. So that, like, okay, you're home, you have set up a table, and you kind of imagine Amber is saying the lines, and you're reacting to an imaginary person. And I would suggest you run it again, focusing exclusively on fighting to get your objective. Reminding yourself that you don't have it and you're trying harder and harder to get it. Then I would run it again. And I don't know if you've done the breathing exercise all the way through the scene yet. I would imagine you probably haven't, but if you have, tell me.
Not all the way through it, and not since we've really worked on it.
Okay, so if you are saying to me that you are wanting to deal with upping the stakes in the scene, then you absolutely should do this. The technique is built on muscle memory. The reason we do the breathing exercise is to charge ourselves up so that we get a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy, a little bit amped from breathing heavy, so that when we run the scene, my body will remember to be lightheaded like that without me having to breathe heavy. So I would suggest you do that all the way through the scene. And then I would suggest you do it one more time, breathing heavy again, all the way through the scene while thinking your objective. See if that fixes the issue with upping the stakes.
Okay.
And then the next time you run it, you're going to let go and you're going to see how much your body remembers with regards to the lightheaded side. Okay? That should fix the problem, because we've done three things actually. We've upped the stakes, we've upped the energy in the scene by doing the breathing. We've upped the energy in the stakes by reminding yourself that you don't have your objective and you're fighting harder to get it. And third, we've done it again where we have our emotion and our objective in conflict with each other, which is going to create an additional energy for the scene. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're doing this right, and this is really important, if you're doing this right and you're breathing heavy through the scene, and you can make it all the way through the scene, and you don't need to stop because you're lightheaded, and you can get all the way through it, you're not breathing heavy enough. Okay? So realistically, in this scene, if I'm doing it, I'll probably have to stop 3 or 4 times. All right? Because I'm going to be too dizzy to continue. And I'll just stop and then pick it up from where I left off, get myself charged, and continue. I'm trying to teach my brain and my body to be lightheaded.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do that, and then you're going to be like having this engine in your car. It's going to be really, really amped, and then you can start thinking, okay, now it's time for me to start working on the funny moments. How am I going to walk in? How am I going to sit? Because I want to walk in a way that I look funny. So maybe I'm going to walk in like a bird, like perky, and maybe my head wobbles like this a little. I don't know, like I own the world or something. Maybe the way I sit, I'm going to sit like a queen. Or maybe in this moment, I'm going to take my arm and I'm going to point at him and attack him like this, so I'm funny to look at when I'm saying that part at the end about my mom as a lawyer or whatever you say.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm going to walk over across the table and get into his face. And you, Amrit, are going like this and leaning back, and your nose is right here. Those are all funny pictures, A. B, they're unexpected, another comedic principle. C, it's got an element of suffering. Another opposite thing, that she's running the show and she's the young one. That's another thing that's funny about it. Does all this make any sense?